relatively small budget. But you can also spend thousands of dollars per kid and get some things that are done for you and proven and tested and that you really enjoy. And there's not a lot of work on the parents' part of trying to print and copy and all those things. But those can run pretty expensive. I will be honest with you and tell you that our budget for this year for all 3 of the older kids, this isn't including Georgia. I got her a bunch of things to do for next year, but I didn't include this in it because I got them different places. Will probably run us a little over $1,000, probably in the $1,100 range. Now, the only reason that I was willing to spend that much money for the kids this year is because I am absolutely in love with the curriculum that we're using. The things that I purchased are things that I know are gonna do what I'm wanting to do with the kids. We really have gotten a good groove. We've found the kind of things that we like, and we're continuing with that groove of the same companies and the same curriculums and stuff like that. So, and I had to buy a lot of things new this year, and I didn't want to mess with looking for them used online and things like that, so I just went ahead and just got it done with. Now, there's been years where we've only spent a couple hundred, maybe $100, $200 getting stuff, and those years were just as well as these years. Or, you also fall in the trap of getting curriculums because you think they're going to be fun and you think they're going to be great, spending tons of money on it, and then you never do it. So now, you could have spent 25 more bucks and got a really great curriculum, but you wanted to spend 50 less and do one that you weren't really sure about, and now you've completely wasted the money that you spent getting the one that you weren't sure about it, instead of just spending the 25 more and getting the best one. So, Leanna's letting the dogs out. Thanks, Leanna. So, just once you start researching and once you start looking for curriculums, I would set a budget on what you want to spend, and you need to stick with that budget because the options for curriculum are absolutely, they're endless. I got books and books and advertisements after advertisement with an endless supply of what I could choose to homeschool my kid. That's why I would say set a budget first. Number 1, I can only spend this much money. Then look into a learning style, and then set your budget, however it's going to work. But those two things need to coincide and go hand in hand before you even start looking into a curriculum that you want to get or that you think might look good. We've run the gamut on curriculums. We have done, if it's a bigger name curriculum, we probably have done something. We probably have done it. I'm going to do a separate curriculum video after this is done. Not like right now today, but I would like to post one later if that's something that you guys are interested in, where I can review and talk about different curriculums we have done, and how they worked or didn't work, or we love them or didn't love them or whatever. So, but once you find what you want to do, say you decide that you want to be the reading family. You want to read, you like the books, they look like good quality, that looks like a good plan to you. You're going to go with Sunlight. That's what you're going to pick. Stop looking. Stop. You will second guess every choice if you continue looking. You will second guess everything that you've done. So just do it. Get it once you order it, once you buy it, once you have it in your hand. Give it a couple of months. Try the curriculum, do the curriculum for a little while. Give it a chance before you look at anything else. Now, if you're into it a month or 2 months and it is not working whatsoever for you, then you can start looking again, because I guarantee you your first go around of what you pick probably isn't going to be what you end up with at the end. Ours isn't. I don't think anything that we started with when Leanna was in first grade, our first year of homeschooling. I don't think there's anything that we use that we did then. There might be. Actually, I think there might be some things, but not hardly anything. You kind of have to run it, try it, and realize maybe that's not for you and move to the next thing. Now, we got into a pretty good groove by second grade with math. We got into a pretty good groove, I want to say, by fourth grade or so, fifth grade for writing and spelling and things like that for Liliana. But it took some some trial and error and not loving it. But I also wouldn't recommend jumping constantly from curriculum to curriculum to curriculum, because you'll then find gaps that you may not be happy with in your kids' education. So give things an honest to good, or honest go about, an honest try. And then if it's not working after a little bit, then look. But if once you decide, just go with it and stop looking, because you will, I can pretty much guarantee, second guess yourself. So that would just be my those are my tips. Find a learning style, create your budget, then Google curriculums, homeschool curriculums within that budget and that learning style, and then stick with what you choose. My favorite places to buy curriculum are Rainbow Resource and ChristianBooks.com. I can also link those down when I post this video for where I buy our homeschool curriculum at. They have really great prices. They have everything under the sun pretty much that we would use or that we need. So that's pretty great. And those are just what we use usually. And Amazon, just like everybody else. You can get anything on Amazon. I also would recommend to you, if you are getting workbooks, are usually pretty hard to find used because they're usually written in. But if you are getting textbooks or those kind of materials, it's usually really easy to find those a lot of times on the secondhand sites. So just like there's garage sale sites on Facebook and things like that, there's secondhand curriculum sites. And you can go on there, you can put in search of post of what you're looking for and see if anybody has it for relatively cheaper. A lot of times they'll have the, like I said, the teacher portion or the non-consumable part, and then you just go back and you order the consumable part from a place like Rainbow Resource or Christian.com. So, or wherever else you're ordering your homeschool curriculum from. You can order them direct from those companies too. A lot of times, like if you're doing a Becca and you want to do a whole curriculum in one, it's actually probably cheaper for you to find a Becca rep somewhere near you and to call them, because usually we'll get like a 10% discount for ordering all the things at once or whatever, versus going to like a Rainbow Resource for like a full bodied everything that you could possibly need curriculum. So all in one. So we don't use all in one. We are a mixed match family. We use different strokes for different folks. I'll just list off what we do. We use Institute for Excellence in Writing for writing. We use Matthew C for math. Reading, they kind of choose their own reading. We do classic literature for the most part. And we discuss them and have kind of like a book club almost every day about their chapters that they're reading. So that's how we operate reading, and they will be writing some reports about reading and stuff here within Institutes of Excellence in Writing program. We use Fix-It Grammar for grammar. We use Spelling UC. I was going to say all about spelling. Spelling UC for spelling. Math UC, I already said that. For kindergarten, Caroline uses A Reason for Handwriting. That's enough. Explode the Code. She does use Matthew C for math. We this year did Exploring Creation with Human Anatomy and Physiology from Apologia for science. And then Caroline did My Body within our homeschool co-op that we go to on Fridays. And so she just kind of tagged along with the anatomy, physiology stuff that we were doing. And she did some body learning and stuff. And then we do lots of gardening and things like that. So we're always kind of doing plant science and things like that, just naturally. For history, we started out with America the Beautiful. Didn't really love it necessarily. We didn't give it really an honest try. So I think we actually might go back to it next year. I'm not sure. Liliana read this book it's called History Bites, and so at the beginning of the year there's like 30 chapters in it, and it was just a chapter per major event within U.S. history, and that kind of really covered the basics of U.S. history for her. We were going to do it along with America the Beautiful, but then that kind of went out. But then we watched lots of history things and stuff like that. So we have some different plans for next year for history. And I think that's really about it that we use. They do art at our co-op. They dance and a dance team, and they do that weekly. Actually 3 to 4 days a week. They were dancing, so things like that. So, but I'll do a fuller curriculum review or whatever, and it's a separate thing, like I said. So there's that, and then here is my last point, number 5. The biggest, I would have to say, the biggest fear of most moms, that you can't do it. And I assure you, with everything in my bones, you can. If an idiot like me can homeschool my kids, I promise you can. And sometimes when your kids come home from school and you don't understand what you're doing and you think, gosh, I could never homeschool them, I could never do this. Please don't underestimate the value of the answer book. of when you are the one teaching the material and you know what the question's asking and you have the answer book right in front of you, it's so much easier to teach the kid. Okay, so you know what the question's asking and you have the answers and you can do it. You can, and you do need patience. But guess what? Patience doesn't learn overnight. Just like with our kids, they don't just know things. They have to grow in them. We grow as patient. I tell you what, patient people, I really think that I have grown just as much as the kids have, if not 100 times more, to be honest, as a person homeschooling my kids. It's made me patient. It's made me understanding and caring. It's made me embrace being with them. But it also has made me appreciate when they're not here. I guess I don't know. There's not a lot of longing for each other. We're generally together. So when they're gone off doing things like go to camp for the week or they go stay the night at their friends or do whatever they're going to do, I really don't pine away missing them. I really don't. I really enjoy the time with the other kids alone, and I let them, I always tell them, I free you from missing me. I free you. I want you to go do your thing and have your fun and live your life, and I free you from having to worry about if I miss you or you miss me. I allow you to just go have fun, and you don't even have to think about me for 7 days or whatever it is that they're doing. I free you from it. That I don't have to be codependent with you. You can live your life and I can live my life and we can love each other, and it's okay that you didn't miss me, and it's okay that you weren't sad you were gone, and it's okay you enjoyed yourself. I'm glad you're back home and I want you here. I love you always, but you are free to live your life. And it's really created that kind of atmosphere for us, for us with being together. I mean, little kids are different, but the older ones anyways. I also would say that I don't know what I was going to say. I can't remember. I don't know. You can definitely do this. You can definitely do this. And, I was going to say too, there are going to be days that you would get frustrated and overwhelmed, and it's hard. It's not easy every single day. I would say that there are actually quite a few difficult days. I'm very grateful that my kids don't really complain much about doing school, but there's always concepts that are hard. Nobody is great in everything. I free you if you choose to homeschool on days when your children are doing math and they get to problem 3 and they just cannot do it anymore because they can't understand it. It's frustrating and it's hard and they just can't understand it, and today is overwhelming. Their sister's in the other room crying and Daddy had to work a different shift than normal, and everything is just up and uproar, and you're trying to do the thing because you just need to check off that box to finish that page. I free you from doing that. I free you when your child is frustrated and angry and everything to close the book. Some of the best advice I ever got. Close the book, put it on top of their fridge, and don't touch that sucker until you're ready. Until it's time to start again. Now you have to have self-discipline and you need to come down every single day and you have to do your work and you have to do your things, but there is a beauty in having freedom to say, this piece of paper, problem number 3 on page 44A, is not worth our relationship. It is not worth me being mad at you and you being resentful towards me. None of this paper is not worth us not loving each other. So today we're going to close it, and tomorrow we'll assess it again. We're done with that for today. We'll start again tomorrow. And it's a beautiful freedom that you have when you can do that. And all of a sudden, the things that create this rift in your family that could have really been tough situations, and you have to really, you have to use discernment with it. It can't be an everyday occurrence, but there are days when you just have to close the thing, put it away, and look at your daughter in her face, for me, and say, I love you, you're smart, you're beautiful, you're kind, you're amazing, and this number 3 on page 44A does not determine who you are, and we'll try it again tomorrow. And I just really think that it's just a really beautiful thing when you can do that. And then I do want to make one more point about curriculum too, before I quit that. Like I was saying earlier, that person who said close the book and put it on the fridge and don't touch it again until the next day gave me the advice that the best curriculum you can ever buy is the one you do. And I think I had said that already. But I just felt like I still 7 years later can hear it ringing constantly when I'm buying things in the back of my mind. It can be $1,000 book that you're buying and everybody tells you it's the best, but if you ain't going to touch that thing, it ain't worth buying. But the $1.99 thing you got off the Ollie's bargain bin might be the best curriculum you ever bought because it was fun and you did it every day and the kids actually learned. So I just want to reiterate that before we move on, before I close up here, that the best curriculum you're ever going to buy is the one you're actually going to do. But you can do this. You can absolutely do it. You are equipped. There is a growing process, and it is hard, and it's an adjustment. And there are lots of people who have to take the first year of homeschooling and do what they call on-schooling, and not do school at all. Basically, they do school. They do they get through certain things, and you get through what has to be done. But they almost have to do it in a backwards way because the kids are so used to school looking like sitting at a desk, writing a paper, the bell rings, sit at another desk, write the paper, the bell rings, and you have to rethink your mind that there's freedom. There's actual freedom. And it doesn't have to look like that. It doesn't have to look like, my kids for some subjects thrive on things that are, workbook style. You tear out the page, you do the work, and you're done for the day with that thing. But then there's other curriculum and there's other things where they do not thrive like that. They do not do well when it comes to a writing curriculum like that. They can't do a prepackaged writing curriculum that's like a workbook style where you tear out the workbook page, do the workbook page, close the book. They hate that. They hated it. It was just not a fight because they would do the things, but they weren't happy doing them and they really didn't learn anything. That's why we moved to this Institute of Excellence in Writing. It was kind of expensive and it's a little bit of work on my part, but I tell you what, the difference between my kids from knowing that their style was not that workbook page style to this style that they're in now is night and day in the last 2 years. And it's just a beautiful thing. And I tell you what, there is nothing better in my heart and in my mind when I can watch my kids and they know something and they can do something and they're smart young people, and to know that I was the one that got them there. Now, God is my ultimate support and, Jesus is my salvation, but I put in that work and we did this together, me and my daughter, me and her. We fought through this and we got through it and we are doing okay. And we did it together. And I tell you, there's nothing I've ever experienced in my life like the reward of homeschooling my kids. And I don't know that it's like that for everybody. And I don't know that homeschooling is for everybody. And I don't even know homeschooling's for you. But I pray that it is because it's awesome. You come join my club. I'm here for you. I'll answer your questions. I'll do what I can. And then, before we go to with this, your equipped point, I would also recommend that you, homeschooling can be very lonely if you let it be. It can be very isolating because you're at home doing your home things in your home all the time. Home, 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 home. I think we can identify with that right now, all of us. But it can start to get very isolating. It's very important that you create a community for yourself. Find somebody, anybody who's like-minded in you. Maybe they don't homeschool, but they have the same ideals as you do. Somebody that you can chat with and communicate with. For us, it's our homeschool co-op. See, we went through some real crazy things with my second oldest daughter this year, and before we kind of got into this crazy situation, she was in the hospital for about 12 days, 14 days, 12 or 14 days. I can't remember now. And I was starting to get burnt. Before we got to that point, I was starting to feel burnt out. And I was thinking, man, I don't know if I'm going to do co-op next year. Not because I don't love the people. Oh my gosh, it has nothing to do with the people. More the time and the busyness and the activity of having 4 kids. I think all moms get to that point where they feel like they don't know if they can do another thing, you know. And I was feeling like that. And then my daughter got sick. And we were in the hospital. And I love my co-op. Our dance team that we're part of, our church family, my family, of course, and our co-op family. Those are my people. And I feel like I've come to a point now, come hell or high water, I don't think I'm going anywhere from those people. Those are our people, and they love me, and they love my kids. And they understand me, and they understand my kids. And I just tell you what, you got to create this community, and the community isn't going to seek you. You have to go out and seek the community. You have to physically do it. And it's hard sometimes, but you have to find it. Google, get on Facebook. For us, there's an Ohio homeschool page. Is there any co-ops anywhere near me? Any homeschool families anywhere near? Blah, 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 blah. Anybody want to meet at the park? Does anybody want to come over and just have lunch together with the kids? Anything. You have to create the community, or it'll become isolating and lonely, and you will become isolated, and your children will become isolated. And that's when you feel the burnout. That's when you feel like you can't do it anymore. You got to have somebody to turn to that will say, yes, you can. You can do it. It's all right. We're each other's people. I got your back. I'll take the kids in here for anatomy class, calm down, have a cup of coffee. You got 45 minutes to yourself, whatever it is. We need that. We really, really need that. I think all people need that anyways, but it's, the homeschooling community is just a little bit different. So before you ever get going into the homeschooling route, try to search out your people that are going to support you and be your support system. I'm more than happy to be your support system if you're watching this right now. I would love to support you. I would love to be your support system as much as I can, or as much as I can do. I would absolutely love to, and if you're in my area personally, I can direct you to some things that are going on around this way or whatever. I think our co-op personally actually may be maxed out on admitting people. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but so I just I hope that you ladies or parents or whoever is considering homeschooling have found this some kind of encouraging. Hopefully it's not overwhelming and too confusing. So I'll review the points. Number 1, why homeschool? What's your purpose? What's your mission statement for homeschooling? Because that's going to direct everything else that you're doing. Are you going to homeschool, or are you going to public school online? The free public schools online. That's point number 2. Okay. There's a hoverboard accident. She's okay though. Point number 3.
My knee hurts. Go sit down.
Point number 3. What are your state rules and your state guidelines?
Look at them.
State guidelines and your state rules. Join the HSLDA. Join the HSLDA. Join the HSLDA. Do it. It's worth the $10. Even if it's just peace of mind for yourself because you're nervous, you don't know what the heck you're doing. That's point 3, state rules, state guidelines. Point 4, determine your learning style, what your budget is, and then look at curriculum. And I'll link some places where you can find good curriculum down below if I can figure that out. And then point number 5, you are equipped, and yes, you can. Hey, I don't know if it's backward or not, but it says, actually you can, or actually I can. This is my absolute favorite mug I bought for myself from Joanna Gaines, my spirit animal. Actually I can. Actually I can homeschool my kids. Actually I can go do that. Actually I can say no to some things. Actually I can join that club and do that activity. Actually, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Actually I can. So, actually you can. You can do it. You're equipped. If you feel like you're called to homeschool, there's a pretty good chance that you probably are. So, have fun.